Okay, hello. So I found this cool site. It's a 3x3 generator. It obviously doesn't let you do everything. I don't even know what Kitsu and Gcon are. Actually, we can look this up right now, and figure that out. So that's just an anime, Ongo one. Yeah, same thing. Okay. They have AniList as well, but I figured today they have Giant Bomb. Something I've been meaning to do for a while is sit down and determine my game 3x3, my video game 3x3. On this channel, I consider myself something of a gameist, if you will. Um, been playing video games all my life, even as a little small child playing like kids PC games, So it's something that's always been around. Not very good at them. I am, struggle with them. Like, if you watch me play certain games, you'd think I am like disabled in some capacity, but that's aside the fact. I still love video games, and I'm meaning to sit down and make 3x3. And this seemed like a cool platform where this is the best way to do a 3x3 on video, where it's like I feel like where you can like just search an ad instead of having to like get an image, find it, and then it just reveals everything way too early. This is like the perfect dramatic effect. So I'm going to go. I've obviously prepared my answers in advance. I'm not doing this on the fly, but I have a list here. There's some big cuts that needed to be made. I will say. So I will do those first, just to show, like I will do I guess the better way for me is I will do my honorable mentions first. Show you. There's more cuts that need to be made, of course, but about the closest three contenders that almost made it on the list that didn't quite make it. Now, sometimes when I would be making a top list or 3x3, I'd limit myself to one per franchise, one game per franchise. But I decided against that. I decided there's certain franchises that I love so much that I can't just pick one game. So, anyway, let's start with the honorable mentions. I will delete them as we go. So, the first honorable mention is Deltarune. So I'm putting that in here as an honorable mention because it is not finished. Now, I think overall, this may be a spoiler for what's to come. I think it is probably shaping up to be better than the predecessor of the series, if you will. But the fact that it's not a complete story and only the first two chapters of this bigger project are out, I can't quite place it on this tier list. So, it can you not delete it? Really? Can you not? um, can you not? Really? Okay, I will refresh that then. That's really dumb. Okay, huge flaw in this thing, but we'll just refresh through every time we go through the honorable mentions. Second honorable mention that didn't quite make the cut for me is Twilight Princess. What is this? Is like not as good as I thought it would be as an option. Yeah, this game is incredible, one of my favorites. But the issue here is that I played it in probably middle school, and I loved it at the time, but I don't remember a good lot of it. I've only played it through once, and there's a lot that I is favorite memory, and I've wanted to try going back and replaying it, but the tutorial is so fucking long and bad and boring that I couldn't get back into the game. Now, if it released on Switch, I'd probably have an easier time, because I've been trying to play it on like an emulator and like sit down at my desk and play, and like going through that long of a tutorial when you can't relax is just you know, not fun. So it just doesn't make the cut. Just doesn't make the cut for that reason. I haven't been able to replay it. It has zero replayability for me. One day I'll do that and pierce it and might reevaluate its position. But alas, now, can I not? I want to figure out this. Can you not delete it? Like, pushing delete does nothing. You can't drag it out. Yeah, I think you just have to refresh. So if you mess up, you just have to redo the whole thing. Terrible, terrible platform. I thought this would be a cool idea on this platform, but what, alas. And then my third honorable mention, I thought I'd, cap it in 3, is Mario Galaxy. Yeah, so Mario Galaxy is, I was literally just having this conversation with Zach the other day. Like there's a trilogy of 3D Mario games, 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, that I would consider the best 3 Mario games, and like I would consider them equally ranked. But if you absolutely had to put a gun to my head and make me choose one where I was going to die, I would say Galaxy. I think, like a lot of people meme on this now, but like the liminality of this game and like the quiet sadness of this game is just unmatched in perhaps any other game ever. I would say maybe Undertale has some of it, but like, yeah, there's just something special about this game that like no other 3D Mario game or almost other video game has managed to capture. And couple that with like awesome Mario levels and level design and platforming, it makes it the best. So it's probably my favorite Mario game. Just the only reason it's not on this list is because the 9 others I'm listing I like just a bit more. Can I really not delete this? Nope. Okay. So we are going in to the core 3x3. These are my 9 favorite games of all time. And I did a little like kind of idea where I was going to divide these into 3 rows. So we'll start with the top row, which will be 3 favorites from my childhood. 3 favorites that became favorites in my childhood and still stand the test of time. The bottom row, which we'll go into after that, is 3 favorites that became favorites during adulthood that I either discovered or rediscovered as an adult and fell in love with, and that allowed them to rise to the ranks of those 3 childhood favorites just as equally. And then finally we'll end with the middle row, which will be my 3 favorite games of all time. Let's dive in with the childhood favorites right now. I'm going to go roughly in the order I remember playing them. I don't know how accurate that will be, but let's start with my favorite platformer of all time. If you know me, you'll probably get this. Do they have a distinction for the GBA version? Because that's the one I played. If not, it's totally fine. It's pretty much the exact same game as the SNES version. But let's see, what's the best framing? I kind of want to frame this a little, like in case I could save it, but it's not the best for framing, But anyway, so the first game is Donkey Kong Country. This is my favorite platform of all time. I think I've been meaning to play 2 and 3. Never really got around. I never really get into it. I don't know what it is. It's just like, it's not this, there's this classic game that has that vibe, and I can't like pierce the other ones. I think Returns and Tropical Freeze are good, but they're not the same vibe at all. It's not the vibe. Stop. So yeah, Donkey Kong Country, I played this on my GBA, played the hell out of this, played through it many times all the way through. I don't know, there's just something about the vibe of this game that's unmatched in any other platform ever. Like it takes this aesthetic and vibe that like this like 3D like before 3D was a thing kind of vibe, and like I don't know, there's just something about it, like, and the music is so fucking good. I watched a whole like video essay about the music of this game. It really does make it. If it didn't have the soundtrack, I don't think it would be nearly as beloved as it was. It would just be like a classic platformer, but it wouldn't be like the best platformer, So yeah, not much more to say. I adore this game, played the hell out of it on my Game Boy Advance as a kid. Childhood classic. Now this is really like I can't remember if I played this one first or second, but the next game is not really a beatable game, but a game that has been around. That's gonna spoil it for it. It's been around for so long in my life, and I still play this probably monthly. I would say since I played like weekly as a kid, but since my childhood, I probably play this monthly, still, to this day, and I think that's a testament to this being my favorite multiplayer party slash fighting game ever. You know, like similar to Donkey Kong Country, it has an aesthetic and vibe, and I think this is just purely nostalgia, but like it has a vibe and aesthetic that has not been replicated in any other Smash game. Um, I discovered franchises through this. This game is how I discovered the Zelda franchise, which was my favorite video game franchise. I discovered like the Mother series through this game. There's so much that it opened up, doors that it opened up for me. In terms of like loving video games and gaming, and like so many like every like era of friendships I've had in my life, I've played Melee with. It's just like something that you do. It's just become such a staple part of my life that like I'll probably be playing Melee in some shape or form till I die. It's just going to be around forever, and I think because of that, it just deserves a spot on here. It's probably my most played game. And it's interesting because there's such like a whole other level of this game, like the competitive scene and learning how to like play, that I just never got into. And the fact that you don't need to get into that to fall in love with this game and it still be a favorite, just shows how great it is that it's like on its base. So, oh man, my throat's getting dry. Anyway, enough time with that. Let's dive into the third of the childhood row, bringing us to my favorite game in one of my favorite series, Pokemon Emerald. This is my favorite of like the the version Pokemon games, the classic like Pokemon formula Pokemon games. This is where it was perfected, in my opinion. Great Pokemon, great region, best region, one of the best soundtracks, if not the best. It for me, as is testament of this row, it's really a nostalgia kind of thing for me. This game, I played through this game at what I would consider the peak of my childhood, which was the summer of 2010. When I look back on my whole childhood broadly, like that was the best part of it. That summer at my sleep bike camp I used to go to, I had my first relationship. I was there with some of my best friends in the world, all summer in the woods, in the mountains, hanging out, bonding, having good times. So many firsts, and like and I was all the way through that. I was playing Emerald on my Game Boy Advance, whenever we had downtime. So playing through that first time. I know it's like years after it came out, like 4 or 5 years, but like that's when I discovered it and fell in love with it. I actually won it in a bet from Alberto, and that's how I got it years later without having ever played it. Diamond was actually my first Pokemon version game. So to me, like, it's that element of nostalgia, the pixel art, just the things that like Pokemon now is like sorely missing, that really like makes it the best of the Pokemon version games for me. Okay, there's what I would call the child timeline, the child row. Let's get into the 3 games that I fell in love with and became favorites as an adult. Now, I'm going to do this first one as sort of one that could have been probably part of this row, but more aptly appropriate. I was debating on placement. This is more aptly appropriate, I would say, in the adult row, and that is Animal Crossing New Leaf. If it'll pop up. There we go. Nice. Yeah, so I played Animal Crossing New Leaf a lot in high school. I loved it then. But it never became a favorite. I just kind of, like, after a few months of playing, maybe 2 or 3 months, I just kind of fell out of it and forgot about it and never really came back to it. After playing New Horizons and really being disillusioned with it in the series, I decided, hey, I gave New Horizons a few chances. I'm like, hey, you know what? I have another, like, modernized 3D Animal Crossing game that I could play. And play I did. I put hundreds and hundreds of hours into Animal Crossing New Leaf in adulthood. So technically, it's sort of a childhood game that I came back to, but yeah, in adulthood, from I think it was, yeah, like over a year, like spring to early summer 2022, maybe around then I started it, and then I think I finished everything I wanted to accomplish in the game. You know, it's not really beatable. You could play forever, but like I finished everything I wanted to accomplish with the game, and I felt like, you know, this is a good concluding point. This is a good stopping point. I finished that about a little over a year later in like summer of 2023. So like, you know, I played this probably an hour or more a day for over a year straight, and it never lost my interest. There's just so much to do. There's so much density here. There's so much love and character here that I think New Horizons just fails to capture. There's customizability, but there's not too much customizability. You don't have the annoying crafting shit. There's certain things the customizability doesn't feel daunting with how much you can. It just feels like the perfect amount, the perfect manageable. The villagers and the characters have such personality and vibrancy and really feel like they're becoming your friends, something that New Horizons lost. It's just the best of all Animal Crossing. To me, this is the peak of the franchise, and it's a game I fell in love with, so it makes this tier list. I really, really hope the next Animal Crossing goes back to more of this nature as opposed to New Horizons. Anyway, the next game I fell in love with, I'm actually going to put here just for, it's just for like, you know, to create cohesiveness with how the list looks, kind of, but this is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Sky. This is actually the only Mystery Dungeon game I've played, believe it or not, and I've been meaning to go back and play the rest of the franchise, but this is... It is the most fucking slept on game. Now, I don't know how much of this is already in Explorers of Sky and Darkness. Like, I don't really know the difference. This is kind of that third version, kind of like the main versions did, where Emerald was the third version of, like, Ruby and Sapphire. It's kind of the third version of that duology. But I've been told by Alpha like, this is just the better version that has everything that was good about it, so play this version. I've been meaning to dive into the post-game. I haven't gotten around to a lot of the post-game, and I heard that's, like, pretty much a whole sequel that I haven't dived into yet. But to me, Explorers of Sky is the most slept on, like, classic RPG. Like, no one talks about this in, like, the pantheon of, like, incredible turn-based it's not turn-based, but incredible RPGs, you know, and, like, it's a masterpiece. Like, I not cried, sobbed multiple times during this game. The characters are just incredible. You fall in love with them all. Even the side characters, they're just so good. And it takes, like, you know, it gives Pokemon, like I will forever associate certain characters in this game with, like, Pokemon with their characters in this game. Like, I will ever associate my main character duo was Bulbasaur and Vulpix, who I named I think Gurren and and Charge, respectively. Bulbasaur and Vulpix, I will forever associate with the characters in this game who I've come to love and adore. I mean, Wigglytuff, Chatot, like, like, oh my god, this game just has such unforgettable characters and has a great, engaging story all the way through with a lot of twists and turns and cool developments. Yeah, this is probably the best Pokemon game. I think I would pay Emerald a little bit higher just from nostalgia's sake, but, like, this is the most slept on RPG. It's a classic, incredible RPG that just no one talks about and no one plays. I think it's because the game is so hard to find and expensive, but, like, just emulate it. Just emulate it. I needed to use save states anyway because I'm a little baby bitch, but absolute masterpiece. Thank you, Alvaro Gen, for showing me this game. Makes the tier list. Now, the last of this row of games I, like, fell in love with and played for the first, like, played as an adult, is one that was almost cut off the list for one of the ones I put in my runner-ups, but it just slid its way in. So this would be, like, probably the last on this list that slid its way in. And that is Persona 5 Royal. I never played the original version, so I've only played the Royal version, so that's the one I'll be ranking here. Yeah, this is one of those games where, similar to like New Leaf, I would say, where you just, and I think it's like noticing the three I picked in my adulthood. I think there's something I really value here. It's characters that become, they feel like your friends over the course of the game, where when you finish the game you almost feel sad and you almost cry just simply because I don't get to spend time with these people that I like love anymore. And that's just incredible character writing right there. Like like the fact that I was finishing this game and I was sad because I was like, "Oh, I'm no longer going to be able to see friends I've made over the course of the year I was playing." You know, that just it just makes it just means it's an incredible game. There's issues with the narrative I have. I think that the whole like there's a whole final act of like what was I guess part of the base game before they get into the royal content. The royal content's a great ending to the story, and I think it's really good. But they could have cut that whole final act in there. You'll know what I think. They should have gone from, if you play the game, you know what's going on. They should have gone right from Shido to oh my god, I can never remember his name. The psychiatrist, whatever. You know what I mean? Like those arcs right away. Like the whole that whole final like thing. I think it's a Persona thing, but anyway, I just love this game. I love how there's like these cool Zelda-esque like unique dungeons and cool RPG, fun, engaging RPG gameplay. But then there's also at the same time this really cool like friendship simulator like dynamic where you like outside of that you like spend time with friends and like hang out with them and get to know them and like really become close with them, and it's really, I think no other game, maybe New Leaf, but like no other game has really tapped that energy as well. I meaning to play more of Persona 3 Reload and Persona 4, so maybe I'll get that feeling from those, but for now this is the one that sets that. And also the vibes are immaculate. It really like scratches that like rugged on the ground superhero itch that I always have in media that I absolutely love. So it really captures like the vibe, and it's influenced a lot of my writing already, and I only beat it about a year ago at this point, so maybe less. So like yeah, awesome game. Now and of course the soundtrack couldn't go on just that soundtrack, but now we get to the final row. This row is the row of the greatest. This is the row of three games that at any given time, if you asked me what my favorite game of all time was, I could say any of those three and it would be correct. I can't choose between these three. One of them was a childhood favorite. One of them is like a college, and then college favorite, and one of them is an adult favorite. So it takes like elements from the three eras of my life, kind of, and like combines them together into one big row. Where like I said, at any point, if you ask me what my favorite game of all time is, I could say one of these three, and it would be correct. So we'll start off. We will go in the order I played them. No, I'm gonna switch that up. Never mind, I take that back. But I will start with the first one I ever played, and that is Wind Waker. So, thing with Wind Waker is a lot of people would say why wouldn't you choose the HD version here? Because I never played the HD version. I played it I played it with like watch friends playing and everything, but like this is the one I grew up with. This is the one I played. The HD version is probably technically better, but this was my first game, like game. Like I played a lot of games before that, but they were all like movie tie-in shovelware or Melee. Like this was my first like real video game. Where I like fell in love with the open worldness. It's like not even an open world game, but it gave me the taste of like what an open world game could be. The sense of adventure, the sense of exploration, the finding all the nooks and crannies of the world, and like just seeing like it just felt so vast and explorable, as a kid. And the characters are great. I love the aesthetic of this game. This like chibi anime-esque aesthetic is like just it, everyone shat on it at the time, but it holds up incredibly well and still looks great today because it was so unique and stylized. I love the side characters. It just really awakened my love of like exploration and not knowing what's around the corner and finding all the crevices and nooks and crannies of a world, in games. And I think the next game I will pick, took that sensation and multiply it tenfold. That's why it's on here. But yeah, this is this is my childhood favorite. This is the game that made me fall in love with video games. The medium. This is it. This awakened so much in me, and I'm forever grateful to it. So, Wind Waker, of course, had to be on there. In the same series is Breath of the Wild. I have multiple videos. A lot of people might criticize me, a lot of people might shit on me, but I have multiple videos talking about why I did not like Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't think it's nearly as good of a game, and does not capture the same magic that Breath of the Wild did. There's a lot to love, and there's a lot that's from a technical standpoint is better, but it just doesn't quite, it doesn't capture the magic. Breath of the Wild takes what I loved about Wind Waker and multiplies it tenfold. The sense of exploration, the sense of wanting to explore every nook and cranny, and really drink in this world, and the magic of not knowing what's around the corner and finding all these new unique things. It's multiplied tenfold because the map is exponentially bigger than the Wind Waker map, and it's genuine open world, unlike Wind Waker, which is a faux open world where it's just a narrative game that lets you explore a little bit. This game is all about exploration and just figuring things out and finding new areas and nooks and crevices, and it takes an idea of my childhood that I had where we're a futuristic Zelda game, but does it even better in the sense that it is a Zelda game in which it poses the question: if the world of Zelda discovered future advanced technology and went ham with it, and then that technology turned against them, causing an apocalypse, and you're left in the remnants of the world, the wild, if you will, of the title, and you're just and you see how it almost has reverted back to its base early civilization days, these scattered villages and towns managing to get by and stick around and keep their cultures alive, despite the post-apocalyptic nature of the world. And there's a sense of loneliness and throughout this game, but there's also this sense of hope. You're always operating it's all about exploration and finding cool things and funny encounters and new areas and nooks and crevices to explore in this massive, massive world. But also there's this constant sense of it may feel lonely. There may be a lot of vast space where you don't encounter another sentient non-monster creature for quite a while. And this is something I think Tears of the Kingdom lost by making the world so much more populated and lively. But there's this loneliness and isolation, but one, that adds to the sense of adventure, but two, you always have this core in your heart that you're trying to get to the person you love who is still around, and you're trying to end their suffering and be with them. And it's at the heart of this game. It's why I think the narrative of this game is better too, that you're there's this amnesia, but you still know that you're after the person you love, and you're pushing forward, and you learn more about her as you uncover memories scattered throughout the world and encounter places you've been before. And it's this world where you're out of time and everyone you love is gone except that one person. You're just trying to there's isolation and adventure by yourself, solo adventure and solo travel as a huge thing in this game, but you're always pushing forward to be with her. And it's just, there's nothing else like it. And right now, if you had to put a gun to my head between these three, I would say this is my favorite. But and I'm replaying it right now, trying to get 100% finally, because 100% is a massive task, and it'll take me a few years to probably get that 100%. But I'm going through that replay now, and it's just as magical. Yeah, that's my thesis on Breath of the Wild. I kind of just put it in this game 3x3 video. But anyway, okay. Last but most definitely not least, is, and I kind of alluded to this before. I'll definitely put the Wild video game on here. Undertale. Deltarune would be here if it was finished, probably, if it ends as good as Undertale did. But Undertale is the finished project in that vein. It is probably the best story and characters of. I would say Persona 5 might have the best characters, but like definitely the best story of all the games on here, for sure. Best narrative. The best soundtrack as well, 100%. Fully confident in those answers. Toby Fox is an absolute genius, madman, savant in the fact that he can make an incredible story, write an incredible story, write incredible characters, write hilarious dialogue, create incredible, unique gameplay, and compose entirely an incredible soundtrack. One of the best albums ever, all by himself. You know, I mean, he had help, of course, but like he was like the head creative of this small indie project. You know, it's insane. It's insane. It's unfathomable how talented this man is. And if I could have even like an ounce of his talent in my life and his creative ability in my life, I'd be internally grateful. You know, so Undertale is the best RPG. I mean, if you don't count Zelda as RPGs, the best RPG of all time, in my opinion. I gotta sit down. Like, I love Earthbound and Mother 3, but I haven't actually played through them myself. You know, I've only watched videos of them, so I can't count them on this list. Mother 3 might take the cake once I actually sit down and play it myself, but I can't put it on the list if you haven't played it yourself. You've only seen videos and Let's Plays, you know? So, Undertale, I mean, what's there to say about Undertale that hasn't already been said? It's just so fucking good. It's hilarious. It makes you laugh out loud. It makes you sob, like in out of happiness and sadness. You know, it's such an emotional, incredible journey. Best soundtrack in any video game. Incredibly fun, unique, creative. Subversion of RPG combat. Subversion of video games as a medium. You know, with all its unique genocide route and like save state type stuff. You know, really great commentary on video games as a medium, and there's nothing like it. There's nothing like except Deltarune. Deltarune's probably building up to be better. I think I like the characters a bit more in Deltarune as well. I also like that it's Deltarune is an example of how to take a spiritual, like a successor game, and add more characters and ensemble to it that actually is done incredibly well and beneficial, as opposed to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom is what I'm getting at. It's like Deltarune like takes like, you know, like there's a lot of isolation and liminality and like loneliness that Undertale has, as you build up friends throughout the game, and that I think, like, you know, Deltarune does it better because it's like you still have to earn these friendships. You know, it's not like Tears of the Kingdom where you jump in and like everyone loves you and you're popular everywhere and everyone's there to support you and the whole world. You know, as a clashing with like completely isolationist solo journey. Undertale's like, you know, you put the work in still. So Undertale, masterpiece. I don't know what else there is to say that hasn't already been said. And thus, can I like not click? Can I click out of this? Well, this like, I just don't want to see the border. I just want to like have a good image. I don't even know what's happening anymore. But anyway, yeah, there it is. There it is. That's my 3x3. This might change. This could change any point, but this is the 3x3. This is it right now. I stand by it right now. I don't think any amount of mentions will crack these games right now, but who knows? That could always change. Anyway, that's, I think, it. Oh, it's just downloaded. Anyway, that's, I think, it. This is, let me know. I'd love to know if your 3x3s in the comments below. Let me know what yours are. Love to see it. Let me know what you think of mine. Whatever you want to talk about, let me know in the comments below. So, yeah, this might have been a long one. I have no idea how long I've been recording, but thank you so much for watching, and thank you for listening to me gush about my favorite games. So, bye-bye.